Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for being here. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go through each category of makeup. So foundation, primer, powder, setting spray, blush, everything. And I want to talk about my favorite products in each category. So basically I kind of want to tell you, like, if I was to lose my entire makeup collection, what I would buy first and what I use the most. So if you're like new to makeup or you want to try some new products and you're not really sure in each category what you should look for, hopefully this helps you. So I will have everything linked down below, but without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay, my plan is to start in order of how I would apply my own makeup. So starting with eyes and then going to base products from there. Typically the first thing I would apply before eyeshadow is some kind of primer to my eyelids. I don't use eyeshadow primer a lot. I typically just use concealer, which we will talk about in a little bit when we get to base products. But I have tried various eyeshadow primers and every now and then I'll throw one on because I own them. Just none of them have ever wowed me more than my concealer. And so it wasn't even worth recommending one because, like I said, they just haven't wowed me. Kind of the basic idea with applying a primer to your eyelid is you want something to get rid of veins and discoloration and have like a nice smooth base before applying your shadows. You want something tacky for your shadows to stick to, and just having like that primed base kind of makes your shadows pop a little bit more. So concealer just does all that for me, and so that's what I prefer to use. So we are gonna start with eyeshadow. I have two different products to mention. One is like a palette and then one is a liquid. So for the palette, my favorite one is the ColourPop Fill and Bubbly palette. This is kind of like a neutral lover's dream. The shadows are all just so blendable. The mattes are blendable, no chalky filling to them, and the shimmers are incredible. They are so pigmented. I rarely get much fallout with this palette. I just love it. I actually just broke my palette this morning right before I started filming. Like 2 of them fell out. And so later today I will probably go to Ulta and replace that. That's how much I love it. Like, I have to have it. And then my favorite liquid one is actually the e.l.f. liquid shadows, specifically in the shade Moon. It's this really nice like champagne-y shimmer shade, and the payoff shimmer wise, once it's on your eyelid and blended out, it's spectacular. It's so beautiful. The thing with liquid shadows is, at least for this one, it goes on liquid, you kind of blend it out, and then it dries down to like a powder consistency. So it's not gonna crease, it's not gonna move, but it's got a lot of shimmer payoff. So love that as well. Okay, next up we're gonna talk about eyeliner. Again, I have 2 kind of in different categories, like subcategories of eyeliner. So I have a pencil and a liquid. For the liquid, I love the e.l.f. H2O Proof. It's a felt tip pen. It's kind of your basic, if I can get it to focus, there we go. Kind of your basic felt tip pen, like nothing crazy about the applicator. It's got a really nice black appearance to it. It stays really well. That's why I like it so much. When I apply a lot of felt tip pen eyeliners and then I go and curl my lashes, a lot of times pieces of the eyeliner come off when I curl my lashes and I have to go back over it. This is one of the only eyeliners I have where that doesn't happen. I can wear this to the gym, it doesn't come off. I have to scrub it really well in the shower. So it is a very long lasting eyeliner, and for that reason, that's why it's my favorite. And then for pencil, I have the Sephora 12-Hour Colorful Crayon, and I use the color Tiramisu. It's like a brown shade. So this is just kind of your typical sharpenable eye pencil, but again, it's very long wearing and it is actually waterproof. You can tight line your eye, so put it in kind of the watery area underneath your eyelid, underneath your eyelashes, or you can do the waterline underneath your eye, and it actually stays in those areas really well and doesn't transfer or smear. So that is why this is my favorite. Really long wearing eyeliners, both of them, just kind of depends what you're looking for, more of a liquid felt tip or a sharpenable eye pencil. I will say if you're looking for more color options, I would go with the Sephora pencil. They have like purples, greens, browns, blues, everything. So if you want a bunch of color eyeliners, look at the Sephora one. Moving on to brows, I really don't have that much to talk about. The only favorite of mine is the Essence Brow Mascara. This is a brow gel with color to it. So it's got kind of a bigger spoolie than you would normally see with a brow mascara, but I love it. I have tried other brow gels, mascaras, whatever, and they all have the teeny tiny little spoolie, which is fine. But with this one, it's something different because it's bigger. It like really grips your brow hairs and pulls them into place, and you're not like going back and forth trying to get a grip to your brow hair. Like this one, the minute the brush is in, my hairs are where I want them to go. The color for me with this one is another reason I like it so much. It's hard for me to find a good color match to my like taupey brown blonde eyebrows, and this one matches really well, and it holds my brow hairs in place all day without feeling like crunchy or like little flakies or anything. So this is my favorite brow product. As far as like a brow pencil to really kind of fill in those hairs, I'm currently using one from e.l.f. I just am not loving it. I've tried a few others and kind of same as eye primers, just nothing has wowed me. So as far as brows go, the only like really thing I wanted to mention was the brow mascara. So if you guys have like a favorite brow pencil, or yeah, I guess brow pencil, or like a felt tip pen that you swear by, leave a comment down below and let me know which one I should try. And then mascara, I'm sure if you've watched a video of mine before, you already know what I'm gonna say, but my favorite one is the Thrive Cosmetics Lash Extension Mascara. This thing just actually makes you look like you have false lashes on. I always get questions about what mascara I use when I'm wearing this. It's a tubing mascara, so it makes little tiny tubes on your lashes, which means that it doesn't smear, it doesn't flake, but it comes off really easily with just warm water. So it's really long wearing, but you're not in the shower scrubbing, removing half your eyelashes. So this is great. It lasts well. It looks beautiful. I cannot say enough good things about it, except for the price. If you don't want to spend $25 on a mascara, I don't blame you, but it's worth it. So my favorite mascara. Okay, now we're gonna move on to base products. So we're gonna start with primer. I have two, but again, different categories. So the first one is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. They have two different ones. This one's pink just because it has niacinamides in it, and then they also have a blue one. I don't really notice a difference at all, to be honest with you. I've used both. So whichever one you can get your hands on, totally fine. This is a long wearing primer, so it's really tacky. It almost feels kind of like sticky, like glue. So you put it on your face and you want to wait like 30 seconds before applying your makeup, but it's going to make your makeup kind of stick onto your face, last longer, gives you like a nice grip for your foundation especially, and just improves the overall longevity of your makeup. So I love this. If you've tried the Milk, I think it's called the Milk Hydro Grip Primer or something, it's at Sephora. It's like probably twice as expensive. They are exactly the same, so this is a really good dupe for that. And then the second primer is the NYX Marshmallow Primer. This is like a smoothing primer, so it comes out almost like a marshmallow fluff consistency. It's like a little bit thicker and whipped, and it really does a good job kind of filling in the pores and lines. My favorite way to apply it is like in my T-zone. So I put it kind of here where my pores are. I actually put it under my eyes to help my concealer look a little bit smoother. And then I typically put a little bit kind of in between my brows just to keep like this area of my forehead looking smooth. And it does a really good job of that. It does kind of take down the pores. It does fill in your creases underneath your eyes really well. So it's definitely a favorite of mine. For foundation, again, I have two, but different categories. So I have a BB cream for lighter coverage, and then I have an actual foundation for full coverage. My favorite BB cream, probably also not a surprise, is the Misha Perfect Cover BB cream. This is a Korean brand as far as I'm aware, and you can get it on Amazon. They have a very limited shade range because it is a Korean brand, so there's a lot of lighter tones. There's not very many for darker skin tones, so I will say that. But if you can find a shade that matches you, it's a beautiful, beautiful BB cream. I wear the shade 21, and it's got a really nice neutral undertone, which is hard to find in foundation. So the neutral undertone really keeps you from looking too orange or anything, which is definitely a plus. It's a nice like light to medium coverage. You can kind of build it up a little bit if you apply it with a brush and get almost medium coverage. I would not expect to get like 12 hours of wear out of this, or like opaque full coverage. This is a BB cream. So like I said, light to medium coverage. And the best thing with BB creams is, okay, yes, they're not gonna last all day, but as they start to fade and wear off, it's not noticeable. You don't look like you're missing patches of foundation. It just looks like healthy, glowy skin when it's on. And so as it comes off a little bit, it's just not noticeable. It's beautiful, it's lightweight, it's really easy to wear. You don't feel like you're wearing a thick foundation all day. It's just my favorite. I take it on every trip I go on. I wear it almost every single day for work. It's my favorite. For foundation, I have the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. So this is a full coverage foundation. You can really get almost opaque full coverage. This will take care of acne, dark circles, everything, and it's extremely long wearing when applied right. My favorite way to apply this is actually with a damp beauty sponge. I have tried applying it with a brush, and it just, because it's so full coverage, in my opinion, it didn't look good on the skin. It just looked streaky and it was hard to blend out. So I really recommend applying it with a damp beauty sponge just to give it that nice like skin-like texture, but full coverage. It lasts really well. Like I said, it's just beautiful. I actually did my own makeup for my wedding, and that foundation is what I wore, and it's like $12 on Amazon. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for a good like glam full coverage foundation for a special event. That's what I wear when I go to weddings. That's what I wear for date nights. Like I said, I wore it for my own wedding. 100% best foundation out there. We're gonna move on to concealer. I have a liquid concealer and then an under eye like creamy corrector. So kind of two in this category, but again, they're in subcategories. For the liquid one, my bottle is disgusting. Like this is definitely a favorite and I'm embarrassed to show it to you, but this is the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. It's very high coverage. The best part about it is it really does like dry down, so you have to work a little bit quickly, but for that reason, I don't ever have to powder my under eyes when I wear this. And with dry skin, if I can avoid using powder to set creases, 100%, that's so much better for me. So this doesn't crease, it sets down on its own, so I don't have to use powder. It's full coverage. I absolutely love this stuff. And this is what I use as my eyeshadow primer as well. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I don't use a primer, I use concealer, so this is typically what I'll use. As far as like an under eye corrector goes, if I'm wearing my Misha BB cream on a daily basis, I don't use a full coverage concealer like this. I save this for like glamour looks when I'm wearing a full coverage foundation. If you wear like light coverage BB cream with a full coverage concealer, it just doesn't blend well. So if you're gonna do kind of a BB cream lighter coverage look, I recommend looking for more of like an under eye corrector instead of like a full coverage concealer. So for that, for like my daily looks, I wear the Bobbi Brown under eye corrector. This is just a little pot. Mine's kind of, I'm gonna need a new one here soon. Basically, you dip your finger in and just kind of place it under your eye. It's not full coverage or anything. It's basically just enough to correct dark circles. So it's not gonna completely make it like opaque here. It's just gonna brighten it up and make you look a little bit more alive. I will say this Bobbi Brown one is a little bit pricey, so if you're looking for a more budget-friendly option, the e.l.f. one is pretty similar. It's also this little pot and you just kind of dip your finger in and apply. I still reach for my Bobbi Brown one on a daily basis. I just like it a little bit more. It is creamier and easier to blend out and work with, but the e.l.f. one is a really good alternative. So if you're on more of a budget or you're just not interested in spending that much money on the Bobbi Brown one, definitely look at the e.l.f. one. It's not bad by any means. I just reach for my Bobbi Brown one more. It's more of a favorite for me and I have them both, so that's the one I use. Okay, as far as powder, I have a liquid and I have a pressed powder. For pressed powder, I use the Essence 16 Hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation. So with pressed powder, I use a little powder puff and I just kind of apply it to my under eyes and then right here in the T-zone and occasionally like maybe my nose and chin, depending on how I'm looking that day. I don't ever powder the outer portions of my face. So the idea with using pressed powder for me, and the reason I use an actual powder foundation instead of like a translucent pressed powder, is because it's got a little bit of coverage. So especially on days when I'm wearing like a light coverage foundation and an under eye corrector, taking the powder foundation, which has some coverage in it, and applying it here just adds a little bit more coverage in those areas to help me look more awake. So especially on the under eyes, kind of on my chin and my nose, if I'm having like, especially right now, like I'm a little bit sunburnt on my nose, that powder would have helped cover that. But this powder foundation is really good. It's really blurring in the pores and kind of the under eye. It's really like mattifying and just gives you that smooth, flawless, filtered look. So I really like that. For my loose powder, I use the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. So the interesting thing with this is it's a glowy setting powder. It's not overly glowy. You're not going to put it on and look shiny like the Tin Man or something, but it's got nice reflective elements to it to just kind of keep that glow from like your primers and your skincares. Typically powders are mattifying, and for my dry skin, that's not always the best option for me. That's why I reach for this the most. It kind of keeps me looking glowy, but sets my makeup in place so that it lasts better, if that makes sense. Again, even with this loose powder, I don't set the outer portions of my face typically, unless I really have to. I stick to like the under eyes, the T-zone, maybe the nose and the chin. If I'm going somewhere, sometimes I'll set like down here in case I'm like touching my face or I hug someone and I don't want my foundation rubbing off on their shirt or whatever, but I never set my forehead because I'd like my forehead to look super like glowy and glossy, I guess, and I never really set here either. So those are my powders. We're gonna move on to bronzer. I have a cream and a powder. So for cream, I use the Juvia's Place in the shade Buttercream. This is just a really nice, like neutral cream bronzer. A lot of cream bronzers pull really warm, especially in the lighter shades. I usually buy either the lightest shade of cream bronzers or like the second one, kind of depending on the brand. But this is one of the only cream bronzers I have tried that actually has a neutral undertone and doesn't pull like orange or red. So that's why I like this one. It's really easy to blend. It's nothing crazy in terms of formula, but yeah, the shade is kind of what sold me on it. And then for powder bronzer, I use the Tarte Park Avenue Princess. I mainly picked this up because of the packaging. It's in like this cute little leather case, and it's got a nice little compact mirror in here. Mine's looking kind of messy. And the smell of it is kind of one of the main reasons I love using it so much. It smells like vacation. It's like coconut pina coladas on a beach is what it smells like, and I just love it. Like every time I put it on, I feel like I'm in Mexico, and so I enjoy using it for that reason. Plus the pretty packaging just kind of makes the whole experience of using this really nice. It's a really good powder bronzer. It adds like a nice warmth to the face without being too warm. So I love using this, especially now in the summer when like some of my foundations are a little bit too light for the rest of my body. I'll kind of put this bronzer all over and help me bronze up a little bit. It's not too warm though, like it doesn't look orange or red, so I really like it. As far as highlighter goes, I have two again. So I have a powder and a, I guess, cream. For the cream one, I use the ColourPop. I think this is called like the Super Shock highlighter or something. It's super worn off on the back, so I can't really read what it's called anymore. So I'll have to leave a note in the description box or put a note somewhere on the screen of what it's called and the shade because everything is really worn off. But basically this is like a little cream potted highlighter. So you kind of dip your finger in and apply it wherever you want. It's really like spongy in consistency, and it just looks, it gives you like a really nice, beautiful glow on the skin without being like texturizing. A lot of highlighters can look texturizing and emphasize like, you know, fine lines, dry skin, all that. And I never have that problem with that one. It just looks kind of glowy and healthy and beautiful. And then for the powder one, I have the Essence Pure Nude in number 10, Be My Highlight. This is actually very new to me. I just tried this in a recent video where I tested a full face of Essence makeup, so I'll link that down below in case you missed it. But this has quickly become a favorite. I don't typically use a lot of powder highlights. I stick to creams because I think they look better on the skin most of the time, but this one is just magical. It gives you like a really nice lit from within ethereal glow to your skin, again, without emphasizing texture or looking too blinding, too much of a highlight. This is just, it's almost natural looking, but like a little bit better than natural, I guess. It's beautiful. I just love this stuff so much. We're gonna move on to blush, and then we are almost done. I have two blushes. I have a cream and a liquid. I tried to think about a powder, but I honestly never use powder blush, so I just don't have anything to recommend there. But for cream, I use the LYS Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush, and I have the shade Classy, which I really like. This is like a really nice kind of just natural peachish blush, and this looks good on a lot of people, this shade. Like I've used it on my own skin tone, which is usually pretty fair, and I love it. It kind of gives me like a nice summery peachy look. I've used it on my mom, who is easily like 2, maybe 3, depending on the time of year, skin tones darker than me. She tans really well, and she's got a really beautiful like warm summer skin tone to her most of the time, and this looked really good on her. I've used it on one of my friends who has more of an olive skin tone, and it looked beautiful on her. So this is kind of a very versatile cream blush, especially the shade Classy, and the packaging is gorgeous. It's in this like nice rose gold kind of compact. It's got a little mirror in here, And the blush itself is really workable. Very, very blendable, very easy to use. Huge fan of this. And then for liquid, I have the Camo Liquid Blush from e.l.f. This has a little doe foot applicator. You just kind of put literally like one dot on and blend it out. I didn't realize when I first bought this stuff how pigmented it was. I went to try it. I put like 3 little dots here thinking that would be plenty. It was more than plenty. I looked like a clown and I had to wipe it off. So if you try this, 1 dot is all you need. It's very pigmented. The thing with a lot of liquid blushes, especially this one, is it dries down and so it lasts really, really well. This is one of the longest lasting blushes I have tried. I absolutely love it. It's not finicky. It looks great over like moisturizer. It looks great over BB cream. It looks great over full coverage foundation. It's so workable. It's blendable. I love it. One of my favorite tricks that I've found recently is applying the ColourPop cream highlight first. So I kind of put that right here on like the high point of the face, and then I put the liquid blush over that, and it looks gorgeous together. Very like ethereal, lit from within, kind of highlighted pinky cheek. Absolutely beautiful. All right, final category and final product is setting spray. And again, if you've watched the video, you know what I'm gonna say, but this is the One Size Until Dawn mattifying setting spray. This stuff has really gone viral in the last few weeks. Like I've heard so many people talking about this for good reason, but like now it's always sold out, which it's hard to get your hands on. So if it's sold, it's in stock at your Sephora, pick up like 2 bottles because you're not gonna wanna be without it for like even a few days while you wait for it to come back in stock. It's basically hairspray for your face. Your makeup will not move. It's amazing. They do say it's mattifying. I have dry skin and I tend to avoid mattifying products, and I've never had an issue with it. And I've probably bought easily 4 or 5 bottles of this. So I've loved it for a long time. I've never had issues with it being too mattifying on my dry skin. That being said, if you're really, really oily and you're looking for something actually mattifying, I don't know that this would do that for you, but it makes your makeup last just so, so well. I've worn it for special events. I wear it on a daily basis to work. I just, hands down, love it so, 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 so much. Okay, that is everything I wanted to mention in this video. I was going to include lip products as well, but I just have such a large lip product collection and I could not narrow it down to even like a top 3. So I think in a future video, I will try and go through like maybe my entire lip collection and we'll just do a video talking about that. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in. But yeah, like I said, I just couldn't even narrow it down to like a top 3, even a top 5 to talk about in this video. So I'm leaving that category out and hopefully we'll discuss it in another video. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I thought this was kind of a cool way just to really narrow down like what products are my definite favorites. Like I said, if I lost my makeup collection, like what I would go out and buy right away. If you're starting from scratch trying to build a makeup routine, what I think you should look at, that kind of thing. So if you guys enjoyed this, let me know and we can kind of do this but with other categories, maybe like hair products or skincare or something. If you think that that would be cool, let me know. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's gonna be all for now. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.